Hello, beautiful souls. I am Tamara, and welcome to Kinetic Embrace. It's been such a very long time since I did this, and things are going to be a little bit different from now on. So, if you're here, say hi. Let me know where you're from. If you are watching the replay, put #replay in the comments just so that I know that you're here. Now, the title of this live stream is Hi, my name is Tamara. And the reason I've done that today is because I really wanted to reintroduce myself. So the reason why it's been so long since I did this, it's been 6 weeks or something since I live streamed last. Oh, well, that's handy. I don't have my laptop in front of me, so I may not be able to see comments, which is a bit disappointing. Oh no, there we go. Here we are, Maddie. Hi, Maddie. So I'm doing this without my cards today. My cards are always an extension of me, and I feel a little awkward while I get started that I don't have my cards as that initial kicking off point. But it's all about practice, right? So, hi Holly, I am well and I have been well. So I've jumped on tonight just to say hi and to introduce myself. Even though everyone who follows me already knows who I am. But this is for the new people. But also because the last, let's say 2 months, I've undergone some pretty radical internal changes. Come to understand myself so significantly more than what I had before. And I'm now making changes within my life to be able to help and support myself, be the best version of myself. And I really want to be able to share with you guys along the way. There will be cards. I still will be doing cards because I love doing that. But you'll be seeing a lot more of me doing just this. Because I know when we talk and we have a chat on here, even without the cards, it's still a very powerful process. So, where to start? So, within the last 6 weeks, I've come to discover that I have a neurodivergent brain. I am not diagnosed at all, but everything that I've seen and everything that I've read and everything that I've watched about ADHD, autism, well, not so much autism, but ADHD specifically, it's like I'm reading about my life. So it's me, them explaining me. So although I'm not clinically diagnosed, I know that this is true for me. I have some level of ADHD, and it's been groundbreaking. This realization and this understanding has been groundbreaking. So when I come into this idea, I spent a weekend watching YouTube videos. Basically, more or less, reading, well, it started with a book called The Year I Met My Brain. And even though I've only read the first 2 chapters, I was like, well, hey, that's me. Hey, hang on, that's me. Hey, hang on, that's me. And then I took that idea and I decided that I was going to learn more, because that's how I roll, right? So I spent a weekend watching YouTube videos of, like trying to understand what ADHD is. I was watching women who were diagnosed later in life with ADHD, and so they were diagnosed later in life, and just listening to them, I cried the whole weekend. Like, I just bawled my eyes out, because it was like everything that I'd ever done in my life that I'd beaten myself up for, couldn't understand, like all of my quirks and idiosyncrasies, all of the things that I've ever beaten myself up for, that I had an explanation for it now. Like I wasn't just lazy, and I wasn't just, not as smart as everyone else, and I wasn't just all of the things that I ever told myself. I just wasn't that. I wasn't that, and it was like I released myself from the shame, right? So now I have this new understanding, which has been massive. It's been massive for me. Like, instead of trying to fit myself into a world that doesn't think like I do, I'm able to now recognize those things, the things that I struggle with, but also like all the positives, because there's so many. Like I love that I don't think like everyone else, but up until now, it had been like part of the ADHD brain is self-condemnation. It's like all that negative self-talk, all of that, why can't I get my shit together? Why can't I, if everyone else is doing this, why can't I? Like, why is it so hard for me? Why can't I just, pick up that piece of paper that I've stepped over 20,000 times? Like, why? And that brings shame. That brings so much shame. Like, well, there must be something wrong with me because everyone else can do it and I can't. And it's literally, it started with the business course that I was doing, to be perfectly honest, because it got to the end of it and I was, not even halfway through it. And I had to have a conversation with my sister about it. And I said to her, I literally cannot make myself do the work. Like, I cannot sit down. I literally cannot do it. Like, I know that I need to do it. And every time I sit down to do it, I distract myself with everything else. I literally cannot make myself focus and concentrate on this right now. And I know that I could have completed it if I wanted to, but it held no interest for me. I signed up for it because it was a means to an end for me, because that was part of the process of moving to Queensland. So, and I did actually learn some interesting things, and I'm grateful that I went through that process. But now I have this understanding of myself and of my neurodivergent brain. Let me just say hello to beautiful Kelly and to beautiful Christy. What did you say there, Christy? I don't have my laptop, so I'm reading comments from my screen tonight. Christy says, welcome to the group Adults ADHD Late Diagnosis. So I haven't actually been diagnosed. I haven't been clinically diagnosed. This is just what I know to be true for me, from all of the research that I've done and, watching all these things about people speaking about my life, right? More or less. Hi, Tara. It has been a long time. I've been going through some big personal changes, which has been really good. So, and beautiful. Hi, Chil. Hello, my beautiful cousin who I got to hug. Oh my God, I got to hug her a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, so my point is, now that I have this new understanding, now that I have this new way of seeing myself and all of my quirks and idiosyncrasies and all of those things, and it's given me a sense of acceptance, but B, empowerment as well. Like now that I know this, I can find ways to work around the things that I struggle with. And I can put systems into place, and just the biggest thing for me is just to stop beating myself up. To stop beating myself up about all the things that I think that I should be doing that I'm not. It's like the square peg trying to fit into a round hole. And that's how I felt my whole life, like a square peg trying to fit into a round hole and failing miserably, right? Which leads to feelings of failure, right? Hello, Belinda. It's lovely to have you here. I was going to say it's lovely to see you, but all right. So my phone's telling me I've got a bit of a slow connection. So if I lag, I'm really sorry. It's me. It's not you. Um. So be prepared for me to start sharing some things, because there's a lot of things that are held in shame because of the judgment, but it was judgment that I was holding upon myself because I thought that I should be doing more, right? Um, let me give you an example. So the negative self-talk, that's been a part of my, that's been a natural part of my brain. Your brain doesn't switch off. My brain doesn't switch off. I have conversations with myself in my head all the time. All the time. I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but it's kind of like that. It's just like an ongoing dialogue that keeps going through my head. And a lot of the time, up until this realization point, a lot of it's been negative. So it's nice to just recognize that and to be able to go, oh, hang on a second. All right, this is normal for me. It's not crazy. I know, it just sounded like I have conversations with myself. It just sounds crazy. The business course is not the first course that I've started and not finished. I've come to realize that if I want to study something to get a qualification, I have to do it in person. I have to sign up so that I have to go to a physical place and be there and be present to complete the work, because I have signed up for about 100 different courses over my adult life and not completed any of them. And I've always told myself that I just received what the information that I needed from that course, regardless of whether I finished it or not. But the truth was that I bought it and it was a dopamine hit, right? It was just like, oh, okay. That feels good. Oh, I'm learning something new, and then there's another thing, and then I forget about it. So forgetting about things is something that I do often, and it ranges from why I walked into the room to the people that I love that I haven't talked to, that aren't in my immediate circle, that I haven't talked to for ages. And it's not like that I forget forever that you exist, but if you're not in my immediate circle, like physical reality, it's like you get tucked away into a different part of my brain. And it's not that I don't love you any less. It's not that I love you less. It's not that I don't think we're still amazing friends, and that's it. But I might not communicate with you for 6 months, and that's simply because I know I'm not late for everything, Christy, because that's one of my quirks. Like, I have to leave at least 15 minutes before I'm due somewhere. Like, I can't be late. That's one of my, so this is a thing. Like, we find coping strategies, right? We have these strategies put into place. And I think up until, because I realised that once I moved to Queensland, and the 2 years since I've been here, until I had that realization, it was getting worse. That I was forgetting things. I'd have a conversation and forget that I'd had that conversation. The struggle, like just everyday struggle, like I would hit 2:00 in the afternoon and just be exhausted, like not just physically exhausted, but mentally exhausted. Like I would switch off and I would watch just something mind-numbing for an hour so that I could just cocoon and reset, because I was just completely annihilated, right? And like unusually so. And I think because before I moved to Queensland, I was working 15 hours from home, and I was just kind of running the kids around, and I'd volunteer a couple of days at the school, and I had a very simplistic life, and I had done that that was part of my coping strategies, right? But once I moved to Queensland, I started a full-time job. I was studying. I was still working part-time from home. Then I took over full-time care of the kids. I was running a household. Like, I had all of these things that I had to remember, all of these things that I needed to do. And not only that, but supporting my kids through their healing journey and trying to support myself through my healing journey. And, just the sheer mental load that I was carrying it was ridiculous. It was really ridiculous. So the coping strategies that I had in place just weren't working anymore. Just weren't working because my life was different. And it was noticeable. Like, I was getting quite upset because I was struggling and then beating myself up because I was struggling, because I should be able to get it together. Like, I should be able to, remember things. And sometimes, it would take me 3 weeks to book a dentist appointment, even though, I could have just rung up straight away. Like, I was really struggling. But now I'm on supplements now that support my dopamine, serotonin, just brain health, like vitamin C, magnesium, and my gut health as well. So I'm on some supplements now that are supporting my the way that I function, basically, and it's been noticeably different since I started taking them 4 weeks ago. The 2 o'clock burnout, they call it. 2 o'clock burnout. It's not like I'm physically tired by the time I finish work, but I'm not completely wiped out. I can get up and do things in that hour between when I finish work and when I pick the kids up. So, Belinda says, where are we? No, Christy says, best way to work through stuff. I do it too, at least you own it. Yeah, I've always kind of I own it to myself. Don't know whether there's a lot of things that I've held shame for that I haven't shared with anyone. But I'm sure you'll hear about it over the next few weeks. I probably just needed to stop and let myself heal. Yeah, so I kind of want to, that brings me into my next topic of conversation, right? Sure, I've skipped around. See, that's another thing. I skip around from topic to topic to topic, blah, 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 blah. So if you can follow me, that's awesome. If you can keep track, that's awesome. And now I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. Christy says, add is one way or the other. I'm 30 minutes late for everything. I look at my phone for a half an hour while I was talking on it. Hang on. Oh, I'm totally bringing my laptop upstairs next time. This is driving me nuts. It's stress. I believe it makes it more prominent, and you change in routine. That's what I was going to talk about. I don't know whether it was stress, but so a lot of people say that it's a chemical imbalance in the brain, but I don't believe that. I think that it is a rewiring of our neural pathways created in childhood when we go through trauma. And when I say trauma, there is the extremes, right? But trauma as a child is something as simple as a baby being made to cry it out, in your bed and in your cot and feeling abandoned, right? That creates trauma in the body. So we go through these experiences, and like I was talking to my friend Trish today, and we were discussing all the things, like being told that you're just too much, yeah? So you're being too much for people, and especially as children, right? If you're too excitable or too emotional or just too crazy, right? Too loud, you're told. be quiet. You're told to settle down. So you're told that the way that you are is not acceptable. And I think, for the people with ADHD, it's I'm still kind of musing through this, but it has something to do with the fragmentation of soul, right? So yes, we're rewiring our neural pathways for coping mechanisms, but there's also like a fracture that happens within who you are when you are told that who you are is not acceptable. And especially when we're conditioned in how we're conditioned in today's society, or in society full stop. It's not just specifically today, right? So this is going to be really interesting, and I feel like it's going to take my business in a completely different direction. I did a meditation with my coach today, and that's what it was like. It was like we were picturing our businesses, and I was like, swipe the clean slate, swiping the slate clean. Can't talk. And starting from scratch, but not really starting from scratch. I don't know if that makes any sense. Because the inner child work is really important. But now that I have this understanding about the rewiring, the neural rewiring, and the fragmentation, I'm not sure where that's going to take me, but it feels really exciting. It feels really exciting. Because I believe that there are a lot of people walking around in this world that are not, that have that are neurodivergent. Yeah, I think I'll use that term as opposed to ADHD from now on, just because I like the way it sounds. And I've been talking about how it's how it's caused so many problems and stuff in my life, but at the same time, it's really a gift. Like being able to see outside of the square is actually it's a real gift. To be creative, it gives you that opportunity to expand and be more creative. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are neurodivergent that are entrepreneurs. Yeah. Because we don't live inside the typical construct of society. Our brains don't work that way. And that's one thing that I've come to discover as well, is that, a lot of that stress and a lot of the things that I was frustrated about was just simply because I need to be able to make my world work with my flow instead of me trying to squeeze into a world that's not made for me. That's not right for me. So it's going to be an interesting journey. It's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah. Christy says she lost her phone. Hey, Ashley with an E. Thank you for joining me. Hi, Darcy. Yes, it's been a long time. But it's been a massive 6 weeks, I guess. 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something along the lines. So, yeah, if something is not in my direct, like I keep the supplements that I take now, I've got them in my special little pill box that I keep on the kitchen bench so that I see it every morning. And well, actually, it's not on my kitchen bench. It's on my table right next to where I sit and have my breakfast, because I've got to eat first. So I eat my breakfast, take my supplements. But if I put them away and I can't see them, then I'll forget that they exist. So what else do I want to talk about? And the resistance to doing things until the very last minute. That's why I stopped doing voice recorded readings. That's why I have stopped doing voice recorded readings, because I would leave them to the very last minute. If you book in for a reading with me now, you book a time, and we show up and it gets done. But if you book in before, if you're booking in a full spread reading, I would wait. I would not be able to sit down and make myself do it until the very last day. So it's yeah, it's one of those interesting things. Having this understanding now, it's like, oh well, that's why it wasn't working for me. That's why it wasn't working for me. That's why it wasn't working for me, because I was trying to do things like everybody else does, and it doesn't work for me. So so much of this that resonates. Beautiful. So the more I learn, right, the more I'm like, wow. Like, wow. You know, from not finishing things at school, right? There are days where I didn't want to get out, I don't want to get out of bed. Like, I've trained myself now because I had to. Like, that was another strategy that I put into place because I had to, right? But, you know, housework, let me get started with housework. Again, that's something that I leave, or I do the bare minimum, right? I do what I have to until I have to do everything all at once. Yeah, so the more that I learn, the more understanding that I have of myself, and the more strategies I can put into place to help me get around, you know, things like cleaning, right? So if I go into the bathroom and I see that it needs to be wiped down and needs a clean, if I have to walk out of that room to go find myself something to clean it with, it's not getting done. So what I have done now is I have a little cleaning kit in each room, so that, you know, if I'm in the bathroom and I see that something needs to be cleaned, I can grab a wipe or some spray or whatever needs to be done, and I can do it right then and there. And then I know that it's going to get done. But if I have to leave that room to get anything, it's gone. It's gone. I'll find something else that'll lead me to something else, that'll lead me to something else, that'll lead me to something else. So, yeah, it's funny. And I can't clean. Without pockets. I've got to have pockets in my pants when I'm cleaning, because anything that I pick up has to go in my pocket, and then I empty my pockets at the end. Otherwise, if I'm walking around the house putting little stuff in where it actually belongs, nothing will get done. It's interesting. It's very interesting. So yes, I'm sure that I will share more along the way, but I really hope that you are here to join me on my journey, because you know, one of the things that helps me the most is when people talk about their experience, and I relate, right? And I relate to that, and I'm like, that's me. Okay, I'm not the only one. It's not just me, and that's really comforting. That really helps. Thank you, Chook, and I for you, always. Um, yeah. So it's more empowering than anything else, right? I feel good. I feel like I can actually get somewhere and do something instead of struggling, just struggling through all the time, and then beating myself up for it. So no more beating myself up, right? Just acceptance. Okay, I don't feel like doing that today, so I'm not going to do it. It'll get done when it needs to get done. Or it won't get done at all. But I have put, so I've put strategies into place. Like, I don't open a message if I don't have time to respond right then and there, because if I open that message and then close it and go away, it's lost. It's lost to me. So, some people that know what I'm like, who I can actually respond to 3 weeks later, and they're like, that's just totally normal for Tam, which is awesome. because I literally forget. Like, I forget that I have to answer that message, and then when I do remember, I'm always in the middle of doing something else, and I'm like, oh, I'll come back to that, and I just forget. It's gone out of my head. So minimizing my mental load is my goal at the moment. How can I make my life easier for myself? How can I minimize the amount that I have to think about things? So, yes. So, if you'd like a reading, I'll pop the link in for you guys. Because I'm still doing that. I'm still, I'm still working with clients. I'm still like doing all the other things, and just realigning myself, realigning my life. What's not in alignment, it's time to go. So welcome to the journey. Welcome to the neurodivergent journey with me. Simplify. That's right. So I've set myself an intention. I'm going to put it out there so you guys can hold me accountable as well. Set myself an intention to live stream every day for at least 30 days. So hang around. I'm sure that there is plenty more for us to talk about. I will be doing more readings, card readings. I've got my ex coming up to see the kids next week, which is it's going to be interesting. I'm sure you hear all about that too, because you guys know my story, right? You know my story with that too. So fun times. Thank you all for being here. I love you all so very much, and I will see you again really, really soon.